Dear Granny here, dealing with depression.
Loneliness.
Loneliness. Loneliness.
So good. I would say you first want to acknowledge it and accept it for what it is. You're lonely.
Yeah, because I could see how one could be in denial about it, and therefore make the loneliness cut deeper because you're not coming to terms that you are lonely. Even though being lonely is often looked at as a negative thing, yet it can be something that can be productive.
It can be.
And
I know it
definitely peaceful.
It can be for some people, but then for other people it could also be that they need someone.
Yeah.
To fulfill that loneliness.
But you got to be careful with who you're hanging out with too, because you can tell somebody, oh, reach out to old friends, but what if those old friends have grown since you, or what if you've outgrown them and they're not necessarily a good influence for you?
Yeah, vice versa.
Yeah,
because I was going to say also you can stay connected, try to reach out to family and friends, but you just made that good point of saying, but I mean, unless you have a family member that you can 100% count on, then yes, but what if they're far away?
Yeah.
You can't be around them.
Yeah. Also, what if you have given 100% into your relationship and kind of let go of old relationships because of which, and so it might be kind of wonky to reach out to somebody when they might look at it as, you haven't reached out to me, and all of a sudden you are. You're only reaching out to me because you don't have nobody else.
That's why it's complicated.
Yeah, and that's not always the case, because you might have those true friends that probably been through the situation, and so they'll get it.
You could also join clubs or groups similar to what I did. I joined a group in Colorado it was a book club or a Bible study, and it just so happened I wasn't seeking for it to be, but it just so happened to be an elderly group, all elderly women, but I loved it. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I was going through a breakup too, so it helped.
Yeah, I can see how hanging out with people that are older can be better for your development, because they have more insight, more wisdom.
Nothing against people my age, though.
Yeah, I know for myself, I've always found the quiet person in the room to be the most that I've gravitated towards than the coolest person in the room.
I could see that. But some people like the coolest person in the room and look at the quiet person as a weird, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you can also limit social media. I find that would help. That helps me a lot, because I'm always because it is easy to compare yourself to other people, and they're out here living this great life, and I'm just here lonely.
Yeah, I'm just here looking at their life.
Yeah. So, and we shouldn't even try to say no. That it does happen.
Yeah, you would think that's not the case, because it's supposed to be an app.
It is.
Or apps that you can tether yourself with others and
social media.
But you would think you wouldn't think that would be the case.
But it is.
But it is, because
and I'm one to admit,
especially if it's not relatable to how you're living. You can't look at a celebrity's life and
not a celebrity,
yeah.
But
or not even celebrity. It could be somebody down the road, and you guys just.
Yeah, but also you do have to keep in mind that they're just showing their best life. They're not going to show.
Yeah.
But so you can also engage in hobbies. Try to find yourself going to a pottery class, or to meet like-minded people.
Yeah. also with that, because you could say that, right?
Yes.
Join a photography seminar
Yeah.
or what have you.
Painting class. Be fun.
But, which is cool, that works sometimes, but if somebody's an introvert, I can see how it can be more difficult for them to do that. But then also for me, I would prefer to be around people that are nothing like me, because I find their stories
Yeah, you're different when it comes to that.
More interesting, I guess. It's not to say that the people at the photography class would be
not interesting,
because they would.
I see where you're coming from. But then majority, I think, of people they prefer being around others that are like-minded.
And also, it shouldn't be the case where you feel as though you have to be around somebody.
Yeah, but
right?
Well, we're talking about people that are lonely. So when you're lonely, that can go back to trying to work on yourself first. Yeah,
because I guess what I'm trying to say is being lonely shouldn't be looked at as negative.
No, it shouldn't.
Because it could be.
It could be positive because you're trying to grow within yourself.
Yeah.
So you can be a better person, right? Or become better or something for other people. Yeah. I don't know.
Because as I said, I believe sometimes you can throw in the towel in a relationship thinking that you're in a toxic one, yet by being impatient and jumping into another relationship, you might think to yourself, the one I was in is actually not as bad as the one I'm in now, because I was impatient about it and was eager to be with somebody else, and so therefore I didn't hold off for somebody that suited me better.
Yeah. Instead of you just jumped right into a relationship that probably isn't going to last long, and you're kind of, like I said before, you're kind of being disrespectful to the other person because you're just using them because you're lonely, right?
Yeah. Well,
right.
But the intentions may not necessarily always be that. I could see in some cases people may be hooking up just to
because they're lonely.
Because they're lonely and not because they're really going to give it a honest shot.
Yeah.
But in some cases it may be they just happen to meet right after a difficult breakup and are really going to give it a genuine shot.
You're right.
But sometimes you should just be. Not sometimes. You should always be patient about it.
You should really try to
make sure that the person is a good fit, because being with the right person is.
It's crucial.
Yeah, it's everything, because you get somebody that you're not going to click with, and it'll make you. That's
with any relationship, friendships, marriage, or anything. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're with the right person if you can. I mean. Also, okay, another one I would say.
Well, I know you said it, be with the right person if you can. Everybody can.
Everybody can. Yeah. You're right.
I mean, unless you find yourself in an unfortunate situation where that other person is forcing you to be there, which is unfortunate, and a completely different topic. But I mean that's unfortunate, and this is why again you should
make sure you
choose the right person.
Wait for the right person. Even if you're lonely, just try to wait for the right person.
Yeah.
Because it will pay off in the end if you get the right person, for sure. If you're lonely, you could also get a pet. That's a big one to help with your loneliness.
Yeah, but also I've seen a trend where people will get a pet because that sometimes seems as though it's the right answer.
Exactly.
Get yourself a pet, and you can possibly not be as lonely because you have a pet, but the trend is that people will keep them for a couple years, then drop them off at the pound because
you're right.
Maybe they were too much to deal with, or they couldn't take their vacations, or just expensive, because going to the vet by itself is expensive.
Having a pet in general, it's expensive.
Yeah. So although you might look at a dog and think to yourself, "Oh, it's so cute," which in many.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
In many cases, obviously, it's going to be cute, but you're kind of being selfish too, because you're just going to get that dog because you're lonely, or that animal because you're lonely.
Yeah, that dog will always give you 100%.
Yeah.
And if you're only 95% in, That's not enough. It's got to be 100. It's not fair
No, it's not.
to a pup for you
To any animal, for you to do that too.
Yeah.
And any person too, honestly.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
It is. It's
Same
the same thing.
You can't see the situation as, you know, they have this one thing about them that I don't necessarily favor, but they're cute. You can't always see it that way. Although you got to make some compromises, because nobody's going to be with that perfect person.
For sure.
We can't expect
You have to make
for,
compromises.
say, women to grow up watching Disney movies and they're going to meet Prince Charming,
Yes, you're right.
because that's not good for them to. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Because then they get this idea of, nope, nobody's enough, and so they end up growing old by themselves, which is unfortunate. But I say unfortunate, but that may not necessarily always be the.
Yeah.
Because I would rather be by myself than be with somebody that's not good for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So you can also seek professional help if you get too lonely,
Yeah.
because that is a thing where you just don't know. Then you just got to start going to therapy if you can afford it. We
Yeah.
all know how expensive that can be.
Yeah. Everything's expensive.
Everything is expensive nowadays.
Yeah, but that has to be difficult, because if one is already taking a beating with their pride and then thinking to yourself, I'm going to schedule. Some people do it,
Some people do.
and that's.
I've
But
never
there's
done
a
it
lot of
before.
people that don't, not because it's necessarily expensive, which it can be, but also the pride and people finding out that they're going to that.
But there are times where the loneliness will probably become too overwhelming. And let's say you've tried everything. Let's try to say you tried everything, and nothing seems to help. Then I guess you do have to seek professional help by going to therapy or, counseling.
Yeah. Yep.
If all else fails.
Yeah, if all else fails. But again, being lonely shouldn't look as a negative thing, but rather a time to be productive, and if you're coming off a breakup, a time to heal. Yep. Because you can try to fill the void by drinking your heartbreak, but drinking your heartbreak away, yet that's. Don't get me wrong. You can go out with I'm not trying to.
What are you trying to say?
No, because you can. Sometimes that's needed.
Yeah.
There's a time and place for that, but it shouldn't be something you abuse either.
No, of course. It's a lot easier said than done, though.
Yeah.
And we're all human at the end of the day, obviously. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm trying to think. Yeah. I know for myself, loneliness really only hit me during the holidays and Valentine's Day.
Really?
And that was
Before
it.
you knew me.
Before I knew you. That would be... No, during you. Wouldn't that be bad?
Duh, it was before me.
Yeah.
You're lonely even when you're with me. Oh God, that's bad. Actually, I say that, but I'm sure people do deal with that.
Oh yeah, that's another thing too, where they're with somebody
And they still feel lonely.
because they've just grown so far apart. And that's also, I'm sure it's easier said than done, but when you should part ways, right?
Yep. But you are 100% right that is a lot easier.
But sometimes
than
you're just
done.
accustomed to have them there, or maybe there's
just complications.
paperwork and
Kids involved, a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah, that keeps you there, and so
It can get complicated.
yeah, I had a friend that had been separated from her husband for well over 5 years, and come January 1st, I think it was about January 1st, and I had asked her what her New Year's resolution, and she told me she didn't have one, and so I gave her one, and I told her, why don't you go ahead and get that divorce? And then she looked at me and said, you know, I think I probably should do that, right? And I said, yeah, you probably should. And I think for her, she thought it was going to be more lengthy than it was, but come, I think the first week of February, it was already finalized, and in her mind, she thought it was going to take...
Yeah, because I think you hear a lot that divorce is very expensive and time-consuming, but she could have done that a long time ago, huh?
Yeah, because it's hard to try to make... It's difficult to build something new when you haven't mended
yet.
Something old.
Yep, you are 100% right. It is hard to do that.
Yeah.
And she may be lonely for a little bit, but she'll be fine. Everybody will get through it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not everyone, but it's okay to be lonely though too.
Yeah.
It's normal.
What? Play some music, cook something,
join a book club.
Book club, cut the grass. That's what I find therapeutic, is cutting grass.
I think staying busy just as much as you can when you're lonely.
Don't judge me right now though, because
well, it's winter.
It's winter.